attract Baikun's attention. Looks like it worked. Sophia felt a little relieved. They made a mess of things, but that's fine. All I did was spread a few rumors. Even if I can't trust them, their skills are useful enough. Still, something nagged at her. They stirred up the others on purpose. More importantly, who are they? She shook the thought away. Either way, this chaos works in my favor. They won't last long against Baikon. I need to focus. Sophia closed her eyes and centered herself. This is my chance to search. I don't have much time left. If one isn't enough, I'll just use more. According to the system, the Divine Eye technique generated white spheres that shared vision with the user. The more orbs used, the more mana it consumed, and controlling them all at once was extremely difficult. But if she wanted to search silently, there was no other choice. Determined, Sophia exhaled slowly. It's already been 3 days. She released dozens of glowing orbs into the air. I will find Hansu this time. He's not the type to die so easily. Despite everything, she still believed in him. And because of that, she knew she'd find him. Meanwhile, Kang Hansu lay unconscious on a shoreline. He hadn't moved at all. The fairy was there too. So this day has finally come. It tapped him gently with its tail, then lightly slapped his cheek. The fairy had come up with a risky idea. With an evil grin, it threatened, "Wake up or I'm gonna kiss you." It giggled mischievously. "Oh, you're awake? A shame, really." Kang Hansu slowly sat up, examining his body. "Looks like I managed to recover before the dragonification process got interrupted." He glanced down. The glowing gem is still here. "Good. I got everything I needed." Then he looked up and realized who had woken him. The fairy beamed. "Long time no see." Kang Hansu stared coldly at the creature. "What are you doing in the red zone?" The fairy grinned, clearly amused. "Oh, I'm terrified. So you do know we only show up when something abnormal happens." It continued without pause. "That's right. But I couldn't just sit still. This situation's a little too unusual." The fairy held out its hand, pointing toward the distant cave. "You see that? That's your masterpiece. You're the first adventurer to ever take that thing down. And you know the rules, we always reward those who accomplish great things." It still wouldn't shut up. Honestly, that creature wasn't even meant to be hunted. There wasn't even a set reward for it, which is a shame. Kang Hansu chuckled to himself. How strange, the stronger I get, the more fun this all becomes. Shouldn't it be getting boring by now? The fairy's expression turned sinister. That's because you enjoy pain. You like cruel and desperate situations. There's no way you're here with pure intentions. It actually agreed with that. Exactly. Which is why we gave it a lot of thought. Its tone darkened with meaning. We wondered what kind of hell would it take to make Hansu dive headfirst into despair and struggle. A glint of madness laced its words. "Oh yes, we thought about it a lot. Then came the offer. So I've got a proposal for you. And trust me, it's not a bad one." A soft glow appeared in its palm. "If you take your reward now, for killing the Doomsday Fish," a radiant gem floated into view. An 8th-tier skill, Lord of the Dead. Kang Hansu recognized it instantly. A skill that revived the dead as spectral minions and allowed the user to summon them. But that wasn't all. It also amplified dark mana. The exact limits of its power were unknown even to him. And for someone like Hansu who could only carry 7 skills at a time, this would be a tremendous advantage. But the fairy wasn't done. "Don't get too excited yet. That's not all. There's a catch tied to the remaining calamities." Hansu narrowed his eyes. The skill fragments, he already had an idea of what was coming. He cut it off immediately. "No, that's enough. I'm not interested." The fairy blinked. "Huh? I haven't even explained the rest yet." Hansu was unmoved. "I don't need to hear it. I'm choosing the second option." The fairy gave a mischievous nod. "Unlike the first choice, this one means you'll have to eliminate all remaining calamities to receive your reward. If even one survives, you get nothing." It tilted its head. "You still want to pick that one?" Hansu didn't hesitate. "I'm fine with that." "Very well then. Until next time." The fairy floated off, heading toward a nearby river. It cupped its cheeks and sighed with delight. He accepted, without even waiting for the full explanation. He never disappoints. If he had picked the easy reward, I'd have been so let down. Just locating all the calamities in the red zone is nearly impossible. I hope he suffers for a long, long time. Back in that dark, eerie cave again. The towering tree loomed, its grotesque, demonic face twisted in silence. A deep, resonant voice echoed from within, the voice of the doomsday fish, though Hansu could no longer understand it. Its current state seemed utterly deranged. And all the while, the crimson river continued to flow without end. Kang Hansu's footsteps pressed into the red sand. His body, honed like a weapon, radiated quiet strength. His mind drifted back to the moment with the fairy. At the time he might have considered taking the offer, but the reality was far more complicated. He had already run the calculations in his head. There was no denying the truth, his very existence had accelerated the collapse of the abyss. Kang Hansu pressed onward. I have to finish this, faster than I did before. He remembered Kang Tae's words, unless we move while synchronizing with Urkeniel's spacetime crystal, the more future knowledge we use, the faster hell itself breaks down. Kang Tae had even laughed when he said it. That's why you've got to sprint like hell, Hansu. Annoying, right? Hansu let out a tired sigh. Getting tossed into this mess like that, it's a real pain. He glanced down at his hand. Now that he thought about it, yeah, he really had been thrown in cold. In that moment he realized he was holding a girl's hand. The memory felt like it had pulled something out of him. But she had let go, and that feeling still lingered. Hansu clenched his fist. His eyes turned sharp-focused. His gaze shifted to the blade lodged deep in the ground. In this situation, every skill is a valuable asset. He had known it from the start. He hadn't killed the doomsday fish for a reward. His hand touched the golden earth. No, this was something I had to do, to maintain the balance in the red zone and to find the next calamity. The plan was already forming in his head. With even a fragment of the doomsday fish, I can lure them out. He carefully tucked the shard into his jacket pocket. He took a long look around. Things are different now. He had slain the beast, gotten what he came for, and paid his debt to Sophia. Now the first step, I need to see Sophia. But before that there's one other place I need to go. The group up above had spotted Kang Hansu. So there's still a straggler hanging around, huh? What the hell do you think you're doing here? A crowd quickly surrounded Kang Hansu. He had sensed them long before they showed up, but he played along. Perfect timing. He began rotating his arm, loosening up. There's something I need to confirm. His movements were lightning fast, like a squirrel darting through branches. Lucky me, so many of you around to ask. One of the men struck hard, roared in anger. But Kang Hansu's expression had already turned menacing. Don't worry. I'll make sure you can at least still talk. By the time it was over, he had taken them all down. He stood in silence, eyes cold as he gazed toward the outside world. Sunlight crept in through the cracks. 3 days had passed, which meant the other calamities had likely started moving. He clenched his jaw. I need to move faster. Damn it, I didn't think I'd be unconscious for this long. If this keeps up, I'll miss my shot at the next opportunity. With no time to spare, Kang Hansu shot into the sky. Just then, something dropped from above. It nearly grazed him. He looked up sharply. A voice called out, "It is you, isn't it?" It was Mikkel, from the Valkyrie Guild, along with his support squad. He wore a smug, self-satisfied grin. Kang Hansu remained on guard. What do you want? I'm in a hurry. Behind Mikkel, a whole group had also just descended. Aaron Pat watched the scene and frowned. Sophia's been looking for Kang Hansu. Did she fail to find him? And now Mikkel's gotten to him first. Mikkel turned to Aaron, his tone laced with venom. I'm holding you personally responsible for supporting the Shadowbind directive on your own, despite being part of our Valkyrie Guild support team. So don't try any funny business here. He hurled something toward the group. Kang Hansu takes priority. With a blade already in hand, Mikkel stepped forward. A golden light surged around the area and then, Sophia appeared. Finally, she said. I found you. She shot a teasing smile his way. You really do attract the most useless kinds of people, don't you? Then, her voice softened. But I'm glad you're okay. Mikkel raised his voice. Sophia, why? You were supposed to stay at your post in Shadowbind. Why are you helping him? The question clearly rattled Sophia for a moment. They, the higher-ups, already knew what had happened here. And of course they also knew she was involved. She responded coldly. I've prepared myself for that. So if you plan on stopping Kang Han-soo, she unleashed her power. Go, Kang Han-soo. I'll hold them off. You've got something more important to do. Mikhail, however, remained as calm as ever, like none of this really mattered. Looks like we've had a little misunderstanding. I just wanted to ask something. He even played dumb. Is it really true that you're the one who dealt with that monster? The calamity fish? Kang Han-soo shot back with sharp eyes. And why does that matter to you? Mikhail extended his hand. Knew it. In that case, I guess I'll have to do this. It looked like he was about to grab Sophia's arm. Two bystanders nearby stood stiff, just as anxious. Then Michael flashed a wide, beaming smile. Let's shake on it. Sophia furrowed her brows, confused. What's that supposed to mean? Why would you want to cooperate with us? Arms crossed, Mikhail replied seriously. And what exactly would I gain from shaking your hand? It's not like I benefit directly from helping you. Then he explained. Unlike Sophia, the woman standing next to you, I can guarantee direct support from the Ides. That's not such a bad offer, is it? His demeanor still reeked of suspicion. I want change. The red zone has remained the same ever since I got here. But you actually changed something. His words felt strangely genuine. I need a strong wind to stir these still waters. I need someone like you. Sophia leaned in and whispered in Kang Han-soo's ear. This smells fishy, but will you say yes? Kang Han-soo gave a simple reply. So there are still people who hope for change, even now. All right then. He smiled gently. Good. You've made a wise decision. So, from now on suddenly, the ground began to shake violently, like an earthquake had struck. The tremors surged beneath their feet. This movement, Kang Han-soo's voice cut through the chaos. To everyone, get back, now. Massive thorn-covered structures came crashing down. And then, it appeared again, that bizarre, monstrous thing. Just looking at it sent shivers down their spines. The massive, gaping mouth of the monster loomed into view, an image soaked in terror. Mikko recoiled in panic. What the hell is that thing? Where did it even come from? Just then, the system screen popped up in front of him. Demon's Maw. That was its name. His thoughts raced. It's just the root body of an earth-spouting horror, one of the calamities. But it can suck in everything around it. Its body is insanely durable, ordinary attacks won't even scratch it. And worse, there's more than one of them showing up at the same time. The monsters were growing more feral by the second, rising in clusters. The people nearby began to scream in horror, run. Run now. But one unlucky man didn't make it. He got snatched up and bitten by the creature in one brutal gulp. Mikkel's eyes widened in disbelief. Normally, these monsters don't reach the root system near the surface. So why the hell is it up here now? To his shock, the man who was just bitten was still alive, barely. His arm, drained of all vitality, trembled violently as he reached out in desperation. Commander, please, help me. Mikhail could only stare, paralyzed. Half the man's body had been swallowed by the demon's maw. The rest of him, what remained, was still twitching uncontrollably. Then Mikhail snapped out of it and bolted. Shit. If we stay here, we're all dead. We have to run. But just then, Kang Han-soo appeared out of nowhere and grabbed Mikhail by the arm. You said you wanted to help me, right? He said coolly. Then come with me. Mikhail, still shaken, barked back. Where the hell do you think you're going in this situation? This isn't the time to be screwing around. Kang Han-soo just gave a small smile. Relax. We're not going far. Without another word, he pulled out a sword, its blade glowing with green magical energy, and hurled it forward. Then, turning his head, he said calmly, here. We're going in. Mikhail froze, unable to believe what he was seeing. What? There's no way that thing got cut that easily. And what do you mean, go in? Before he could finish his sentence, a green thread of light from the sword wrapped itself around his arm. Mikhail gasped and let out a panicked yell as the energy pulled him forward. Moments later, Kang Han-soo landed firmly on the ground at an entirely different location. He stared off into the distance and muttered to himself, just as I thought, the demon's maw is inside. A faint light appeared soon after. Kang Han-soo noticed it and spoke casually. Ah, right. Then he turned around to scold Mikhail. Didn't you know how to land properly? Mikhail snapped back, clearly annoyed. And whose fault do you think that is? Who the hell dragged someone else into this mess? Why the hell am I even here? Kang Han-soo tilted his head. Didn't you say you wanted to help me? That's not what I meant when I said help, Mikkel retorted. More importantly, why did you come in here? Then he looked down and furrowed his brows. This liquid on the ground, it looks like some kind of nutrient solution. Kang Hansu responded, all calamities have one thing in common. Do you know what it is? Mikkel blinked. One thing in common. And right in front of them was the demon's maw again. Mikkel took a step back in fear. Wait, what? The demon's maw, it's moving. You're not wrong, Kang Hansu said calmly. Looks like it's starting to shift. Get ready. Before he even finished speaking, a flicker of light, multiple lights rushed toward them. A grotesque horde of mutated monsters with bizarre shapes came barreling in their direction. Mikkel was terrified. All the monsters from the red zone? They're charging at us. Without another word, and with zero hesitation, Mikkel turned and ran, completely ditching Kang Hansu. This is suicide. No way I'm sticking around to face all that. I have to get out of here now. Meanwhile, Kang Hansu stood firm, unwavering. Muscles taut, gaze focused, sword at the ready. He stared down the oncoming swarm and said, There's one thing you need to remember about calamities. Both of his hands gripped the magic-infused sword. Dragon technique, awakening. Suddenly, the blade blazed to life, sparks of lightning dancing wildly in every direction, crackling through the air. Kang Hansu stood tall, looking like a total force of nature. He didn't even flinch as he spoke one final line. When you're up against something like this, you always move forward. There's no such thing as retreat. The moment he finished speaking, Kang Hansu swung his magic-infused sword directly at the oncoming swarm of calamities. Watching the scene unfold, Mikkel gasped in disbelief. He's actually doing it. The horde suddenly appeared to weaken, as if they were under assault by some overwhelming, incomprehensible force. Mikkel's eyes were wide with awe and confusion. How the hell is he doing this? No matter how strong you are, how can you charge in alone like that? He muttered. Aren't you afraid? Still locked in battle, Kang Hansu replied without looking back. You don't understand. The tension in the air was thick. Mikkel just stood there, frozen, watching. Then, out of nowhere, Sophia appeared and called out, You've only just brought Kang Hansu here. A dozen blazing pink swords shot toward the swarm of calamities. She followed up, voice sharp and accusing. Unbelievable. You vanished without a word. Did you really think I'd just sit back and not follow? Kang Hansu turned his head slightly and replied, completely unbothered, Sophia, I know exactly how I act. Sophia crossed her arms and scoffed, Heemph. You don't even know me that well yet. Before the conversation could go any further, Mikkel cut in. How can you two be talking so casually right now? We need to get out of here. Sophia tilted her head and looked at him, then calmly replied, I came here to fight beside Kang Hansu. She paused a moment, then added, If you're scared, then go. Run. Mikkel's expression darkened, he looked almost insulted. Crazy. They're all insane. This place keeps spawning monsters straight out of the red zone. There's no way just two people can handle this. As another wave of monsters surged toward them, a calm, commanding voice rang out, They're coming. Get ready. Suddenly Sophia felt a fierce gust of wind at her back. She instinctively dodged to the side and thought, that wind, the powerful gust surged past her and struck the enemy force head-on. A sacred relic windburst. Mikkel now held his sword, eyes sharp, voice steady. No matter how stupid this is, I said I'd help you. So I'll stay and fight. A sly smirk formed on his face as he turned to Sophia. Sophia Varaj. Now I'll finally get to witness the true power of the 7 soul rings. Then, as he glanced at Kang Hansu's broad, muscular back, he added, Most of all, I want to see his real strength. He changed the red zone. So I expect even greater changes from him in the future. Sophia, hearing that, whispered to herself, That's right. Even from just a short conversation you can feel it. Hansu has that kind of strength. The kind of strength that changes people, and leads them forward. Kang Hansu continued battling with his magical sword, and now Sophia and Mikkel had joined the fight as well. Together, the three of them pushed back against the relentless swarm of calamities. The atmosphere was growing heavier by the second. All three of them, Hansu, Sophia, and Mikkel, continued fighting relentlessly against the horde of calamities. Mikkel's expression tightened as he swung his sword, releasing a wave of bluish magic that pulsed through the air around him. We're still holding them off. But they're starting to push us back. Are we really just going to keep defending? He asked, tense. Kang Han-soo, still composed amidst the chaos, replied. The number of monsters has dropped significantly. That means the first wave is almost over. He then glanced toward Sophia and added. After that, Sophia, you saw it too, didn't you? Sophia's demeanor instantly shifted to seriousness. Yes. Ever since we arrived, I've been tracking it using my library skill. As she spoke, a new magical artifact materialized in her hand. It looked rare, powerful. She continued, I have a rough idea of its location. I just need to pinpoint it. That artifact was the Divine Eye. As soon as the words left her mouth, a zigzag beam of light shot from the artifact and pierced through the mouth of one unfortunate monster. Sophia fell deep into thought. If the next calamity resembles a root spitter in structure, then attacking it from the outside is pointless. That mouth, it's just an organ like the surface maw of a root spitter. The real body lies deep beneath the world tree. Hidden, nearly invulnerable. The glowing eye of the Divine Eye locked onto the swarm, scanning it. Sophia's mind raced. But if you can enter through that mouth, there's a passage. A cavity where the monsters are pouring out from. Then, as if a realization hit her, both her eyes and the Divine Eye suddenly lit up. That's it. The spot where the monsters spawn, it's the only weak point. The junction between this thing's body and its inner core. The Divine Eye began to fly forward, scouting ahead. Suddenly, it detected a strange object, deep purple and shaped like a flower. I found it, she said, her voice sharp with focus. But just as the flower-shaped object came into view, a new monster emerged, larger, more terrifying than the rest. Sophia froze for a moment, unease creeping into her voice. But the monsters keep spawning non-stop. It's disrupting my connection. She trailed off as she spotted Kang Han-soo rising to his feet with renewed determination. And it's too deep, just getting there would mean pushing through all of them, but Han-soo clenched his fist tightly and cut her off. That's not a problem. Something about him looked different now, like a surge of new power had awakened within him. A calm, confident smile crossed his face as he said, it'll just take a little time. Kang Han-soo clenched his fist tightly, his voice dropping to a deep, resolute tone. It's not a problem. As the words left his mouth, his body was suddenly engulfed in steel armor, transforming him into a fearsome warrior clad head to toe in iron. His face turned sharp and cold, his eyes fierce and unrelenting as he glared at the enemy. A golden current of energy surged around him like lightning racing along his body. His fist remained clenched as he added, "This won't take long." Then, his gaze sharpened further, so razor sharp it felt like it could kill anyone who dared meet it. The transformation stunned both Sophia and Mikhail. Neither of them moved, too taken aback to step forward. Han-soo slowly closed his eyes, as if attuning himself to the very air around him. Sophia's eyes widened in shock as she watched him. His chi form, it's even stronger now. Mikhail was just as stunned. A look of disbelief crossed his face as he murmured, he has chi manipulation, and it can even transform his body. Who is this guy? Hearing that, Sophia quickly responded, his chi form won't last forever. We need to finish this fast. Then, without warning, she stepped forward and raised her voice, no matter how strong you are, you can't take them all on by yourself. She stood firmly in front of Han-soo, her expression determined. I'll clear the path for you. Han-soo's surprise was visible for a brief second. But he didn't object. He didn't nod. Didn't protest, he just stood there silently, eyes fixed on her. Then Mikhail let out a faint chuckle and glanced at Sophia. Han-soo turned to him too, his face emotionless. I've already sent a request for support to the surface guilds, Mikhail said calmly. I don't know when or if they'll get here in time. Sophia looked at him but didn't respond. Mikhail continued. I can't just stand back and watch the two of you fight. Even if I don't know whether we'll make it through this. A horde of monsters suddenly let out a savage roar, baring their teeth and charging forward. But none of the three flinched. They stood their ground. Han-soo remained still, eyes shut, like a statue listening to the world. This feeling, he thought. In his mind, a vivid image flashed, his comrades, transforming just like he was now. How nostalgic, he thought. A faint smile crept onto his face, cold and grim. His eyes opened, glowing with intensity. Wait. The muscles in his shoulders tensed, veins rising beneath his skin as he added. I'm going to use the power I just received. With a surge of energy, Hansu conjured an orb of ice in his hands. He hurled it with all his strength toward the roaring monsters ahead. As the icy projectile flew, a strange blue light shimmered across the monsters' bodies from head to toe, reacting violently to the magic. Hansu shouted with all his might, "You Gezu bastards sure have a knack for sensing good stuff, huh?" Panting hard, sweat pouring down his face like a river, Hansu's hand was now gripping the source of that mysterious blue light. It was the Blade of Oblivion, a forgotten relic of Galadriel. A deep slash tore across the battlefield, carving through the air and slicing the earth in a jagged line. The leading monsters fell in an instant, split clean in half like marionettes with their strings cut. Mikhail and Sophia cried out in unison, "One slash, and it's that powerful. That's not Gesu's weapon anymore." The two of them, still in shock, began drawing their own weapons. The astonishment on their faces said it all. Hansu had wiped out the horde with a single strike. Their magic crystals floated into the air, merging slowly to form a radiant, multicolored prism. It hovered above a rectangular altar, surrounded by a glowing purple aura that pulsed with ancient power. This was mana resonance, a latent skill of magical constructs that allowed one to borrow another's mana. Once fused, the resonating crystal embedded itself into Hansu's blade. He spoke calmly. This is how relics were originally meant to be used. The artifacts of Galadriel. This one was among the last unearthed in the Forgotten Zone. As he ran his fingers along the newly enhanced blade, a thought crossed his mind. Of course, without the divine shard to awaken it, this thing would have been useless. Suddenly Hansu let out a battle cry, "Now, can you monsters finally die?" Before the sentence was even finished, all three charged forward, each unleashing their own magical weapons on the remaining monsters. The battle erupted into chaos, fierce and unrelenting. Each one of them had their own task, their own target, and none dared drop their guard. From the horizon, a loud rustle echoed like something massive was moving through the land. Meanwhile, in another corner of the battlefield, Aaron Pat was shouting commands. "Don't fall back. If we retreat, even more will come." No sooner had he said it, another wave of monsters appeared, larger, more vicious, stampeding toward them. One of his comrades shouted, "I've never seen this many before." Aaron's face was soaked in sweat, his expression exhausted. They had been fighting for what felt like forever, but the monsters just kept coming. He yelled out, "Has reinforcements arrived yet?" Suddenly, he froze. A white pigeon appeared in the sky, Mikkel's messenger bird. "That's Mikkel's pigeon," he muttered, staring at it. The bird swooped down toward him, but just as it got close it abruptly veered upward, soaring back into the sky. By instinct, Aaron reached up to catch the messenger bird but missed. He muttered under his breath, "He's asking for help." Before he could think further, the pigeon was suddenly snatched mid-air by Lu Hong. Startled, Aaron shouted, "What are you doing?" But Lu Hong's face remained calm as he coldly crushed the bird in his hand. "I was wondering what kind of rats were scurrying through my domain. So it was you, Lu Hong of Lighthouse." His cold gaze flicked toward Aaron. Sweat beaded on Aaron's forehead, fear slowly creeping in. "I'm sure I told you," Lu Hong continued, "that we're here for one reason, to find Kang Hansu." He clenched his fist and added with a firm tone, "This disaster is our concern. Its resolution lies with the one we've chosen. You and your people step back." As he turned away, Aaron, clearly displeased, called out, "But we can't just leave. We're surrounded by monsters." Without turning, Lu Hong replied, his voice colder than ever, "You've misunderstood me. I said this was your job, to deal with the pests swarming the surface." His eyes sharpened like blades. "We have other matters to handle." A dark portal suddenly opened beneath a tree, swirling like a black void. Lu Hong growled low in his throat, anger flashing across his face. He clenched his fist and slammed it into the ground, sending Aaron's support team flying backward in a blast of force. "This," he said, "is Levana Mikhail. You're now facing the #1 support squad." Hearing that, Mikhail spun around, his expression tense. "Lu Hong, what the hell are you doing here?" Lu Hong, ever emotionless, responded flatly, "If you dare act within my jurisdiction, you'll be held accountable. This area is under our control. Cease your actions and get to the surface." Mikhail replied with quiet venom, "You'll regret this." As the standoff between Lu Hong and Mikhail grew more tense, the very air around them darkened, as if the shadows themselves were watching. Lu Hong muttered, "There's a limit, even to lying." Suddenly a loud boom echoed from the entry tunnel, followed by a massive cascade of rock and earth sealing off the exit entirely. Lu Yuhong's expression finally broke, his eyes wide in shock. What? The entrance, it's blocked. Then, to his disbelief, the wall itself moved. He stared, frozen. His eyes narrowed in alarm as he screamed, "What the hell? I've never heard of a monster's mouth moving like that." Mikkel scoffed. And that's exactly the problem. Using our skills here is far harder than on the surface. Still, I never imagined a simple messenger bird would summon someone this important. If you want to make it out alive, you're going to need to cooperate. Lu Yuhong, his face flushed with rage, bellowed, "I'll." But before he could finish, a thunderous roar erupted behind him. A massive monster shrieked in pain, then collapsed to the ground, twitching violently. Lu Yuhong froze, not even turning around. Standing behind him was Kang Han-su, his face as cold as ice. His voice was low, quiet, but carried lethal weight. "Hey you!" Beneath Han-su's feet lay the dying body of the monster that had just screamed. Without even a flicker of emotion, Han-su cast a piercing glance at Lu Hong and said, "Shut up. If you want to live, get to work." Lu Hong's expression darkened. His brows furrowed slightly as a thought crossed his mind. He's strong, I've never seen him before. Is this really the one who took down the Calamity's Kang Han-su? That name alone made his face twist with aggression, his teeth grinding together. As long as the entrance is sealed, wasting strength here is meaningless. He raised a hand, signaling to his subordinates. No other choice. Advance and wipe out those monsters. His soldiers charged forward with fierce determination, their faces contorted with aggression. Lu Yuhong glanced down at the crushed remains of the messenger pigeon in his hand, thoughts racing. I need to report his presence, Kang Han-su. Dealing with him can come later. Even if he's new, he's becoming too skilled too fast. Of course, Sophia is behind this, one of the 7 shadows. Then, from behind him, Han-su's voice rang out. That's still not enough. Lu Hong's face twisted again. Ambition sparked in his eyes. If I take him down here, there's no doubt he will promote me to commander. Out loud, he said. What do you mean by that? Han-su remained stone-faced, his voice slow and cold. You won't survive this. Looks like Lighthouse is weaker than I remember. A split second later, Han-su's fist was already at Lu Hong's face. Panic flared in Lu Hong's eyes, real, sharp fear. Han-su's cold expression only grew icier, his clenched fist glowing with tension. Meanwhile, the resonant blade, Han-su's enchanted weapon, had slipped from his grip and landed in the hands of one of Lu Hong's subordinates. The soldier stared at it, confused. What is this? He muttered, as powerful magic surged uncontrollably through his body. But the blade wouldn't obey him. It suddenly twisted in his hands before violently lashing out toward one of his own allies. Then, as if pulled by unseen force, the blade flew straight into the hands of Chae-yoon. Everyone around her froze, stunned, wide-eyed. Han-su's fury was now palpable. I knew it, trying to channel magic from multiple sources at once, it's too unstable. His eyes sharpened like blades, radiating lethal intent. It was as if just meeting his gaze could kill. On the other side, Lu Hong's squad, now led by Chae-yoon, was still fighting desperately. She shouted over the chaos, focus. Keep control of your magic while engaging. Elsewhere, deep in a moss-covered forest, there stood a peculiar cube box, glowing in shades of green. It was completely surrounded, encased by an ancient, towering plant monster that had lived for over 100 years. This box was alive. It was a plant. The monster growled in a deep, creaking voice, Not enough, I can't control this many plants. Then, in a sudden fit of rage, the creature roared, Intruders. Hearing this, Fabian Ekidran tensed, fury visible in their eyes, but they didn't strike. Not because of fear, but because the tension in the air was like a loaded weapon. One wrong move, and everything would explode. A chaotic battle raged on, with war cries echoing across the battlefield. Advance. Lu Yuhong wore a wild grin, exhilaration lighting up his face. This is insane, he thought. I've never felt this useless before, how oddly refreshing. Then, terrifying energy began to surge from his hand. So you've been hiding this kind of power, Kang Han-su? He muttered to himself, both awed and alert. Impressive, he admitted aloud, his eyes gleaming with fierce light as raw power pulsed around him. He quickly recalculated the situation. This needs to be reported immediately. He probably still doesn't know the full extent of Kang Hansu's abilities. Even sealed inside the maw, with that insane magical barrier stronger than the ones outside, he's still able to smash through those flimsy walls surrounding us. Lu Hong looked at the towering tree ahead, then continued his unrelenting assault. If I can capture Kang Hansu, the guy who's pushed this far in and still managed to survive and escape, he will finally see me in a different light. I won't just be Carl Morin's pathetic replacement. Then, his eyes widened in shock as he shouted, "I'll take care of." But before he could finish, a magical pulse whipped through the air, coiling around Lu Hong. "Damn it," he cursed under his breath. He looked at the pulse in confusion. What the hell? Why did the magic thread just vanish like that? Unseen by him, the magical circuit had just been interrupted by the sudden arrival of a mysterious figure. This figure had saved Lu Hong, but their voice was cold and distant. "That's all the help you're getting from me. Figure out the rest yourself." Lu Hong shot a glance at the person and silently thought, "Unbelievable. Of all people, I ended up getting saved by the most eccentric freak in the Seven Shadows." The mysterious figure was none other than Sophia. Lu Hong barked a command. "Where's the assault team? Hold your position and eliminate anything that moves." But Sophia merely lowered her head and thought, silent. She knew she couldn't help him any further. The magic Hansu had shared with her had been steadily destabilizing for a while now. Suddenly, magical ice crystals began forming inside the pit. Sophia's eyes narrowed. "What's going on in there?" Then Kang Hansu appeared. "I'm going in." She looked alarmed. "Wait, didn't I tell you? It's too dangerous to go inside before clearing the monsters around the passage." Hansu reassured her, "It's fine. We can't keep dragging this out. The only path left is forward." He turned, gaze firm. "And I can't risk leaving someone behind me while I move ahead. So I'll go first. Cover me from the rear." Sophia's expression turned icy as she thought, "Don't worry. I'll catch up to you soon enough." The scene shifted to the root core of the central zone. There, Fabian and Echidron stood waiting. Suddenly, Kang Hansu entered the space. Fabian's voice rang out, laced with dark amusement. "Of course. I knew you'd poke your head in the moment I activated the inner root system's defense protocol." Hansu remained quiet, calculating his next move. Fabian's eyes suddenly blazed with fury. The last of a long-extinct race. The final survivor of the Elvenheim Legion. Hansu stood up straight, drawing his sword with fierce resolve. His entire body was a coiled spring of deadly intent. Then, like a streak of lightning, he charged forward. With a tremendous roar, he unleashed a devastating slash toward Fabian. But Fabian's eyes gleamed crimson, a counterattack forming. He raised a massive arm and swung. The punch landed with explosive force, caving the ground beneath them. Hansu was knocked off his feet, pain shooting through his body. Still, he forced himself to his feet, clutching his sword tightly. His movements, they're different, Hansu thought. Because he's still alive. If that's the case, suddenly, the ring on Hansu's hand flared with a violent red glow. Fabian's eyes narrowed with interest, curiosity momentarily breaking through his fury. Without pause, he launched another attack, slamming his massive palm into the ground. But just as it landed, a powerful red aura burst outward from Hansu. Hansu calculated swiftly. "I'll prioritize drawing power from Nirmaha over other awakened relics that require sacred stone barriers." The red aura enveloped Fabian's hand, searing into it. Fabian howled in pain. Hansu remained composed, thinking, "That worked. I've neutralized that weak magical defense of his. But it's not enough." Fabian lifted his burned hand with a grunt. Hansu's face was etched with resolve, but he knew his wounds too shallow. "I need to amplify the output further." Bracing himself with one hand on the ground, Hansu kept pushing forward in his brutal duel with Fabian. Fabian's enormous arm began to move again, slowly but steadily pressing forward, and then a crushing force came down hard on Hansu's body. The impact triggered a massive shockwave, shattering the ground beneath them. The ones attacking him now weren't just Fabian, they included Echidron, another of the Elvenheim Legion's 5 Grand Generals. Echidron looked up toward the swirling vortex above. Hansu, despite the pain, assessed the situation with razor-sharp clarity, just as expected from 2 of Elvenheim's long-dead generals. A shadowy figure surrounded by streaks of glowing energy loomed in the distance. Hansu reflected. That last strike could have done more damage if they hadn't used those relics to block it. Those aren't just trinkets, they're Elvenheim's tree defense artifacts. Gritting his teeth, he forced himself upright again. Even if Elvenheim has long since fallen, its systems, they're still functioning. He glanced around, gauging the battlefield. These guys are monsters. Ordinary attacks won't even scratch them. And now my right arm, it's broken from that last blow. Then something caught his eye, an interface update. Mission data flashed in his vision. Kang Han-Su power, red. 33.2% stamina, red. 31.5% perception, red. 33.9% physical resistance, red. 31.1% magic resistance, red. 35.4% skill, void technique proficiency, 3.5%. He processed the numbers quickly. Even with this significant growth in power output comparable to red tier runes, I still can't fully mitigate the incoming damage. Without hesitation, he surged forward again, striking with renewed force. I deliberately held back some of my strength to clean up the rear. Everything is still within the plan. If there's an anomaly, it's only because these Elvenheim generals are wielding relics far more potent than expected. I may have awakened my relic with a sacred stone, but perfect utilization, that's an entirely different matter. Then, Han-Su closed his eyes for a moment, reflecting in stillness. I'll need to extract as much power as I can from both the sacred stone and the relic itself. His thoughts turned to the great tree radiating with pure energy. His true target wasn't the generals. It's not them, it's what lies behind them, the source of their power. Just then, giant hands began to emerge from within the tree's trunk. One by one, they were followed by a flood of undead, shambling into view. Han-Su's eyes narrowed. Damn it, he muttered. The second layer of the defense system just activated. A squad from the Galadriel Legion suddenly appeared on the battlefield. Weapons drawn, they leapt toward Kang Han-Su in perfect sync, ready to overwhelm him. He shouted defiantly. If you're gonna try and crush me with numbers, good luck. I came prepared for this. Behind him, a group of figures dashed forward at full speed. It was Han-Su's comrades. His team had arrived, shouting his name as they surged into battle. The two sides clashed violently, metal ringing against metal, roars echoing through the chaos. One of Han-Su's allies cursed under his breath. What the hell is this? We just cleared out a swarm of those damn bugs to get here, and now we've got undead too. These things are too damn strong. Sophia stared at the creatures in shock, her mind racing. The Galadriel Legion. Controlled from inside that cursed fish's gut. Weren't they supposed to be the guardians of this place? Meanwhile, Lu Hong was still locked in brutal combat. His face had turned grim with concern. I knew there was something strange about that magic vein, but I never expected a full-scale battle like this to erupt. If this keeps up, the whole operation's gonna fall apart. Kang Han-Su, how long are you planning to take? Back on Han-Su's side, he was facing off against a towering monster. He swung his blade with brutal force, slicing through the beast and drawing blood. But then, a strange energy wrapped around the creature, mending its wounds almost instantly. Han-Su narrowed his eyes. I'm doing damage, but the regeneration rate is absurd. They're recovering too fast. Suddenly a burst of golden energy streaked across the battlefield. Han-Su clicked his tongue. Damn it. That persistent bastard again. In front of him stood Fabian and Echidron, both surging with battle-hardened rage. Han-Su's body was covered in wounds, but his will remained unshaken. If I keep using Dragon Chi and pushing this fight longer, my body's not going to hold out. I've been force healing myself using the dragon's power while burning through every drop of mana. If I push this further, my blood vessels might rupture completely. Then, his eyes flicked toward the massive tree once more. A thought crystallized in his mind. No more distractions. I need to focus on just one target. Everything else is a waste of time. The heart. The core. A group of figures were channeling all their power into a glowing blue energy sphere, a memory from the past. That entity once ruled over the red zone. In order to control its ecosystem, they created a miraculous piece of genetic bioengineering, the World Tree. It wasn't just a foundation, it was the origin of all life within the red zone. Vine-like tendrils emerged as the tree branches twisted and moved. They had created the plant and hid it deep beneath the World Tree's roots. Over time, The plant ceased its normal function due to the disasters wrought by twisted lifeforms. It had originally been designed as a helper, as a guardian. But in time it transformed into a harbinger of catastrophe. And that's why it had now gone berserk. However, due to a lack of direct control or authority, the best it could do was stall for time. Just then, a massive fist came crashing down toward Kang Hansu, but he dodged it just in time. His eyes sharpened as he assessed the situation. So that's why it activated the security system to delay me. Hansu analyzed further. Ekadrin's army? No, more accurately, these beings weren't warriors. They were protectors of the plant. The 5 generals preserved using ancient conservation magic and relics of Elvenheim, transformed into an immortal army, retaining their peak destructive and regenerative capabilities. He glanced toward Fabian and Ekadrin, who were closing in with thunderous steps. Their bodies are much sturdier than humans. That alone makes them formidable opponents. His grip on the sword tightened, eyes filled with determination. Still, if I activate dragonification using dragon chi, I might create a brief opening. Hansu's attention shifted once more to the world tree. The only thing I need to focus on is the central heart. The regeneration abilities were being endlessly fueled by that core, through the plant's magic energy. At that moment, Fabian lunged at him again. It felt like fighting off a horde of zombies. Fabian's massive arm extended, aiming to seize him. Hansu spoke coldly. If this keeps up, we're never going to end this. His face was icy calm. The 5 generals, they're just a distraction. I have a different target. His sword flared with a deep crimson energy. Hansu made his decision. I'll activate dragonification to maximize my magical output, then focus it all on a single point. He stared down the enormous hands reaching for him. This was at the peak of primordial relic power, combined with a fragment of holy stone. I'll form a wave of magical force through the ring of Nirmaha. And I'll charge in using every last ounce of strength I've got. Kang Hansu's eyes burned with unwavering determination. He clashed violently with Fabian, red energy erupting and swirling around them like a raging storm. The crimson force snaked around Fabian's body, causing him to let out a pained scream. Hansu swung his sword, its blade radiating a fusion of golden and red power. Even if this soldier was created through Galadriel's ancient relics, there's no way he can fully withstand the destructive power of Nirmaha's ring. Leaping high into the air, Hansu unleashed a devastating strike straight into Fabian, then landed with a calm sneer. Go ahead, regenerate all you want. Fabian's body was covered in deep wounds. Meanwhile, Hansu dropped to the ground like a hero descending from the heavens. But then something behind him shifted, drawing his attention. A blast of purple energy surged toward him, but he managed to brace and block it just in time. He narrowed his eyes. Seeds of Ekadrin. Each one's durability rivals the armor of Fabian. In other words, I can destroy them. Concentrating his power, Hansu split one of Ekadrin's seeds clean in two. He blinked, surprised. I barely even used that much force. Did it separate on its own? Furious, Ekadrin cursed under his breath. That bastard. He deliberately released reinforced mana around the relics to provoke a reaction. So as long as the main body isn't damaged, the relics themselves remain intact. He glared at Hansu and launched another wave of energy. But Hansu slashed through it in one clean motion, destroying the entire cluster of seeds in an instant. Unfortunately, one of them managed to strike his shoulder, sending a sharp jolt of pain through him. Hansu winced, then shook it off and pushed forward. So even if I sever the physical form of the relic, the magic inside remains unaffected. Ekadrin conjured another batch of seeds, and Hansu cursed, son of a damn, that actually hurt. Cut to the others, still locked in fierce combat against the undead. A man with white hair under a helmet drove his blade into a zombie's leg. Panting heavily, his voice trembled with exhaustion. How much longer are we supposed to keep this up? He looked at his own hands, shaky and worn. It's been a while now. The magical energy surging so violently I can barely move. Without it, I would have collapsed already. The undead creatures began to regenerate again, yanking out the blades embedded in their bodies. One of the zombies turned to face the white-haired man. He groaned toward his commander. Sir, how long are we supposed to fight like this? We've been attacking non-stop, and their numbers haven't dropped at all. While he was distracted, a zombie suddenly lunged at him from behind. But just in time, Mikkel struck it down. Don't let your guard down, he warned firmly. They'll all come back to life. The man turned, slightly shaken, and growled, "Mikhail, this is all your fault, every last bit of it." A glowing hand lit up with summoned power. "No time for complaints," Mikhail snapped. He released a burst of magic that blasted through a wave of undead in a flash of light. Watching the scene unfold, the man in the helmet couldn't help but be in awe. "Sofia Varaj." Mikhail gave a small smile. Sofia's voice rang out, sharp and commanding, "Forget everything else and focus on fighting the Galadrian army. If we don't hold the line, we all die here." From afar, Lu Hong had been observing her closely. So, it wasn't her who destroyed that calamity before. But now, with everything he had seen, it finally clicked. After watching her this whole time, I know now. She's the one who truly understands everything that's going on and acts accordingly. He quietly began summoning energy. "And Kang Han-su, he's stronger than I thought. I need to report this accurately to that person. Everything else can wait until we make it out." Meanwhile, Kang Han-su was still locked in brutal combat with Ekadrin. The monster's seeds all launched at him at once, relentless, swarming. Han-su slashed them down as fast as they came, but they overwhelmed him. He coughed up blood, gritting his teeth. "Damn it. A few at a time is one thing. But I can't take on all of them at once. If I can't dodge, it doesn't matter how tough I am." He quickly twisted his body, evading another strike. Then an immense force crashed down around him, surrounding him in a vortex of crushing power. A direct hit slammed into him, ripping deep wounds across his body. The pain shot through him like fire, his legs felt like they were being torn apart. But instead of retreating, Kang Han-su surged forward again. "If that's the extent of the damage, then I'll just use recovery and push through." He clashed with Ekadrin once more, magical energy exploding outward in a brilliant flash of light. "As long as I land a solid blow, it doesn't matter if I take a few hits myself." Ekadrin started to summon energy, forming a massive sphere of dark magic. Han-su narrowed his eyes. Too late to stop it now. He raised his blade, energy swirling, then lunged forward in a streak of blue light. "I'm not aiming for you," he said calmly. In a flash, Kang Han-su sliced through a piece of the meteorite wall, shattering it completely. He turned, walking away slowly. "I've wasted enough time here already." Dragging his sword across the ground, he whispered, "So let's end this right here." With a final, devastating strike, he brought Ekadrin down for good. Watching the scene unfold, Sophia stood frozen, mouth agape in disbelief. She could hardly trust her eyes. Is it really over? The battlefield fell silent. The monsters had stopped moving. Sophia spoke, her voice tinged with disbelief. "They've stopped reviving, completely." Another voice chimed in, "Their energy source, it's gone." She called out to him, "Kang Han-su." But he was fixated on the object in his hand, eyes sharp and distant. "This is only the beginning," he said grimly. "It's not over yet. We need to move to the next location immediately." Lu Hong stepped forward, blocking the way. "Hold on. You're saying we go even deeper?" He glanced back at his team. "Then Beacon will be withdrawing from here." "We're not suicidal," he added. "We followed your lead because it was an emergency, not because we take orders from you. We have no obligation to keep marching down this death trap." Voices around him murmured in agreement. "Yeah, he's right." With a wave of his hand, Lu Hong concluded, "Then this is where we part ways." But inwardly he was still rattled. "I don't even recognize his sword style." Suddenly, Kang Han-su lunged forward with his blade, catching Lu Hong completely off guard. He flinched. "You! How dare you attack me?" But Han-su calmly replied, "Relax. Don't misunderstand, I didn't strike you." He nodded toward the space ahead. "I just opened up our path forward." Then he casually turned to the group and asked, "Oh, by the way, anyone here good at holding their breath?" Before anyone could answer, a roaring waterfall came crashing down behind them. The team spun around, eyes wide in horror. "There! Behind us!" someone screamed. The rushing water surged toward them with terrifying speed. Lu Hong went pale. "Wait, you!" But before he could finish, the water engulfed them all. Soaked and sputtering, Lu Hong gasped, "This crazy bastard!" The torrent of water had swallowed everyone whole. Lu Hong, still fuming, cursed under his breath. That bastard. After a while, the group finally made it to a dry patch of ground, drenched and breathless. Lu Hong scowled. That lunatic, was he seriously trying to drown all of us? I can't believe he'd pull something like that just because we tried to walk away. He summoned a feather gleaming with a faint, divine glow and smirked to himself. I didn't want to use this, but at this point, there's no other option. If I can just get out of here, but the moment he tried to activate it, nothing happened. He froze, staring at it in disbelief. No way. I can't use it. A sacred artifact that can transport me anywhere in the red zone, and it's useless now. Kang Hansu's voice cut through the tension. Seems like you still don't understand this place. You can't use that feather inside the Calamity Fish, or the World Tree. He walked forward, calm and composed. To be more precise, this isn't a dungeon, so it won't trigger. He continued, besides, a fragment of the Divine Stone is suppressing its function. Inwardly, Kang Hansu reflected, this is where the devouring root has latched onto the World Tree. Deep inside its roots, this is the heart of the red zone. He glanced at the glowing orb in his hand. We're close to the plant chamber. Since I brought the relic of one of the 5 generals, I'll need to awaken it using the Divine Stone fragment. Clenching his fist, he thought to himself, if I can increase the number of relics in my possession, stabilizing the mana flow leaking from the Divine Stone will be far easier. I may not be able to harness much of it, but the stone's true nature is something only full relic bearers or chosen candidates can use. A faint smirk curled on his lips. Things are about to get a whole lot easier. Suddenly, Lu Hong lashed out again. How dare you act like nothing happened after what you just pulled? He was furious now, almost thrashing in place. When we get out of here, I'll be officially taking command of Unit 1. As the commander of Beacon's elite force, I won't let this slide. But Kang Hansu remained utterly unfazed, replying in a calm tone. Didn't I already tell you? The fastest way out of here is to bring your real body down. He glanced at the group. Everyone here has incredible resistance. You can endure the toxins without much trouble. A woman spoke up. Well, it is better than getting burned alive. But Lu Hong wouldn't listen. He snapped, shut it. No one gives me orders. No one. Kang Hansu simply chuckled. Do whatever you want. It won't change anything. He turned away, speaking casually over his shoulder. This area is actually safer than where you were before. Whether you follow me or not, that's up to you. But then he paused, his voice turning firm and resolute. That said, if you come with me, I promise you'll make it out of here alive. He looked them all in the eye. The red zone is about to shift in ways no one's ever seen. Don't miss the chance to be part of it. Mikkel hesitated for a moment, eyes distant. The red zone is going to change, he murmured, his voice hoarse with exhaustion. I've been hoping for this, he finally said, catching his breath. The red zone hasn't changed since the day I arrived. But you made it happen. I needed a storm to shake the still waters. I needed someone like you. Then, with a weary but genuine smile, he added, maybe that's why they say be careful what you wish for. But a voice cut through the moment of sincerity. Beacon will act independently from here on out. Lu Hong sneered, his tone laced with bitterness. Even if you begged for our help now, it's too late. You'll pay for underestimating us. Someone muttered in agreement behind him. Yeah, serves him right. Kang Hansu raised an eyebrow in mild surprise, then responded not with anger, but resignation. Even I can't keep dragging you people along forever. I've done my best to live up to Ares' expectations, he thought to himself. But there are always exceptions. Lu Hong exploded with rage. You dare keep looking down on Beacon? But before the situation escalated further, Sophia interrupted, voice sharp. Wait, something's not right. Her expression turned tense as she scanned the surroundings. My observation skill just picked up movement. Something's oozing out of the tree. She was right. From the base of the tree, a grotesque red creature emerged, jaws open wide, lined with razor-sharp fangs. The moment they saw it, everyone instinctively stepped back in horror. There's more of them. Someone shouted. They're pouring out from the tree. What the hell are they doing? They're coming straight at us. Kang Hansu watched the scene unfold and narrowed his eyes. Malformed monsters. The tree's going berserk. He analyzed quickly. These things aren't stable lifeforms. They're the kind that can't survive in a proper ecosystem. They'll die the moment their life force runs out, but until then, they'll devour everything in sight. Damn it, has the devouring root completely lost control over the world tree? Then he smirked with cold confidence. Did you really think these half-baked tricks could stop me? Moments later, the grotesque creatures lay sprawled and motionless on the ground, swiftly taken down. With the immediate threat dealt with, the group pressed on, deeper into the area. Behind the scenes, the rear support unit had already completed their setup. Frontline assault team return and regroup. One assistant saluted and reported, situation report complete. Near the supply tents, someone waved.